Welcome to the Google Cloud Update for the week of March 18th, 2026. I'm your host, and we've got a fantastic lineup of updates for you today. This week, we're celebrating a big win for Ruby developers with a major runtime update across our serverless platforms. We'll also dive into some powerful new features for BigQuery and BigQuery ML that streamline both data management and model deployment. Then we'll check in on the data world with updates for Cloud Composer, Dataproc, and Data Fusion, including an important architectural shift in Composer. And of course, we have news from the container and database fronts with a very handy new feature for Cloud SQL for Postgres and a useful addition to Cloud Build. Let's get into it. First up, let's talk serverless and a big update for the Ruby community. The Ruby 4.0 runtime is now generally available across Cloud Functions, Cloud Run, and the App Engine flexible environment. If you've been waiting to use the latest and greatest from the Ruby world on Google serverless platforms, your wait is over. Go ahead and start deploying your Ruby 4 apps. Now, shifting over to the world of data and analytics, BigQuery has some great new features that have landed. First, a simple but very convenient update. You can now configure a global default location for BigQuery. This can be set at the organization or project level and will be used whenever a location isn't specified in a request. This should help prevent those accidental, oops, I created a dataset in the wrong region moments. We've all been there. But the really exciting news is for BigQuery ML. You can now automatically deploy open models directly to Vertex AI endpoints. This is a huge step for MLOps. When you create a remote model in BigQuery ML, it can now handle the automatic management of Vertex AI resources for you. It even allows you to use compute engine reservations to reserve resources for your model and can automatically undeploy the model when it's not in use to save on costs. This makes integrating powerful open models into your BigQuery workflows significantly easier and more cost-effective. Sticking with the data theme, let's talk about our orchestration and processing services. Cloud Composer has rolled out new builds for both Composer 2 and Composer 3. For those on Composer 3 using the latest Airflow 3.1.7 build, there's an important architectural change to be aware of. Following improvements in the open-source Airflow community, Airflow workers no longer have direct access to the Airflow database. This is a security and architecture enhancement. To access data from the database now, you'll need to use the recommended export methods to Cloud SQL, so be sure to check the documentation for that. This release also brings updates to the Google and Kubernetes provider packages. Next, Cloud Data Fusion has a new version, 6.11.1.2, which is now generally available. This release fixes a couple of UI bugs, including one where the triggers panel wasn't showing the correct count, and another that improves the loading performance of the deployed pipelines list page. Small fixes, but they make a big difference in user experience. And for Dataproc on Compute Engine, new sub-minor image versions are available. These new images include fixes for several CVEs and an upgrade to the Dataproc Metastore proxy. Also, a quick note that the default JDK is now Temurin JDK 11 across the 2.1, 2.2, and 2.3 image families. All right, let's dive into the world of containers. Google Kubernetes Engine has seen a flurry of version updates across all release channels: rapid, regular, stable, and extended. We won't go through all the version numbers here, but new default versions have been set for cluster creation in each channel. The most important thing to know is that these new GKE versions use updated container-optimized OS images, which incorporate a cumulative set of security fixes. So if you're managing your GKE clusters, it's a good time to review your upgrade strategy to ensure you're getting these latest patches. Moving on to our databases. First, Memory Store for Redis is expanding its global footprint. You can now deploy instances in the Asia Southeast 3 region, which is Bangkok. And for our Cloud SQL for Postgres users, there's a fantastic new feature that provides a much-needed safety net. You can now cancel an in-place major version upgrade while it's in progress. We all know that major version upgrades can be stressful. This new capability allows you to halt the operation during the main upgrade phase if something isn't going as planned, giving you more control and peace of mind. Finally, let's wrap up with a great update for developers using Cloud. Cloud Build now has native support for uploading OCI images to Artifact Registry as part of your build process. OCI, or Open Container Initiative, is a specification for container images that goes beyond just Docker images. This means you can now build and store other compatible artifacts, like Helm charts or other OCI artifacts, directly in Artifact Registry. These artifacts will show up right in your build history and build details pages, making your CI/CD pipelines for non-Docker artifacts much smoother. And that's a wrap for this week's Google Cloud Update. From the GA of Ruby 4.0 on our serverless platforms and the powerful new BigQuery ML auto-deployment feature, to the ability to cancel a Cloud SQL upgrade mid-flight, there are plenty of new tools to explore. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week for another dose of Google Cloud news.